Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Good, Baruch Hashem. Let me get this on screen here.
We're on page Lamed Hey,
Yeah.
Stalin.
Okay. As always, I give you the floor for comments, review.
Okay, in the last section, he mainly is speaking about that the power of Hakaras Hatov and being grateful to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that this is a very important midah that a person has to work on, even though, and this is part of loving Hashem, is being makir tov to Hashem. And he does mention that even though within loving Hashem, there are other higher aspects of love. For example, you love Hashem because he is so great, he is so merumam, he's so holy, he's so high in the world or in the Shemayim. So that is a higher type of ava. However, he does say that Hakar Satov is very important, and even though it's a lower level than the target of ava, he says it's something that we have to work on, and it's very important to always be makir tov to Hashem. That's basically what he said.
Excellent. Okay, so Dalit. Oh, I'm not sharing screen yet, sorry. Okay. Shleimus Avoda Me'ava, Ratzon Hashem Bilvad. The Shleimus of Avodas Hashem is from love of Ratzon Hashem. That's interesting. The Shleimus of Me'ava Ratzon Hashem. Not Avas Hashem, Avas Ratzon Hashem. Karosh Dvar Kosav HaChosi, B'Sefer Mesilas Yesharim, he writes at the beginning, the very beginning, Sheisora Chasidus, the foundation of piety, the Shorish Avodatima, and the root of perfect service, who is Sheisbar B'Yisame Seitzodam, being clarified and found to be true by a person. What is his obligations? World, and what he has to cast his gaze, and his purpose, and all he tells us in all of the days of his life. Okay, there are two principles here which explained elsewhere. Who, by the way, on the first line was just to show him you could spend years and years and years being medayik each and every word, every jot and tittle in that line. It's just such a powerful line. Once I did that,
I heard that there's the difference between Yisod and Shoresh, right? Yisod is a man-made thing, and Shoresh is natural. So anyway, I won't go into it.
Many years ago,
yes.
I expounded on it when I was drunk on Purim, and that was especially uplifting experience. Okay, so Kiyancha was saying obligation is that all of our ma'asim tovim, on all of our good traits, on all of our true beliefs, call hasogamitis, and the primary thing of everything is true perception. Based on the capacity of a person, in the perfection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with which he conducts his creatures. So I guess he's saying that all of our ma'asim, all of our midos, etc., should emanate from our understanding of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his hanhaga and his loch. Also, in other words, it's like Chazal say mahu rachum, mafata rachum, mahu chanun, mafata chanun. So you have to take your bearings for your own obligation in this world from the way Hashem conducts the world and he conducts his creatures. Avol kol hatachlis hazeh shamasim tovim, but shlo yavol shleimusam. All of this will not come to shleimus, even though that's a good thing. Ki mitor hakavana except only with purity of intent. But even less still the learning and the analysis of the divine matters. If it will be suffice to diminish, to quiet down the thirst of his intelligent soul, which wants to know big things. Won't come to purpose. So that's, he says, if you're learning even Dvarim Elokim, then, but not with Torah Kavan, but rather, and this seems like, from a listener's perspective, it seems like great, right? You're doing it to slake the thirst of your nefesh maskelis, to know great things. It sounds very good. Nope, doesn't work. Your intent has to be to give a nachas ruach to Rosh Baruch Hu. That he commanded us that he wants us to perfect ourselves with this hasaga of Yidiyas Hashem. And that's what the Mesilas Yesharim is demanding of us, that we do things not because of our own desire, our desire to become intelligent or accomplished, whatever the case may be. Even we do it l'shem shamayim, but rather we do things because they are the Ratzon Hashem for us, and He's given them to us in order to perfect ourselves. Okay, so this is
I think when he says v'zeu inyan hamabat u'megamas haponim shezachakan, he means that this has to be the focus. In other words, when it says in the Mesilas Yesharim says that you have to look and see and stare. So he's talking about he's not talking about your eyes. He's talking about an intellectual type of focus, like you're attacked, you're zoned in. In other words, this is where your thought, your pathway, where you're going should be.
Yes, but he's negating something, right? Saying not this but that.
Right.
Okay, so that's important. Right? You're saying
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Well, a lot of people, and you find this a lot, that people have like a certain idea about how they should sort of make their way through life, or their problems, or their ruchnias. They have like a plan, a tochnit. You know what I mean? They have like an idea, and here he's saying, no. Your job is to focus on the Ratzon Hashem, what Hashem wants. You may have a pathway that you think is a good pathway, but that probably may not be.
It might not be the Ratzon Hashem, yes.
Right. It might not be Hashem's pathway. Hashem could have a completely different idea. So therefore, you have to focus on something else rather than focusing on your pathway.
Right. Okay. Good. We should explain the matter of love, serving Hashem out of love, l'shem asiyas nachas ruach liyotzro. Gam avonos kali yisel kamoni, even for people of limited intellect like myself. Ki rabim lo yerdu l'magadvorit. Not many people get down to the full depths of the matter. How is it possible to have a love of some perfection? If it's not, if it doesn't come from the person who is actually creating this thing of shleimus, or I'm not know creating is the right term. If it's not coming from some active participation by oneself. In other words, he's, if I understand it correctly, and I'm not sure I am, he's saying in the previous paragraph, he basically said that one submits himself to Ratzon Hashem. But how does that make you love Hashem? In other words, loving normally is an active thing, not a passive thing. So how do you come to
Right, right.
Emes Hashem?
How is it possible that he, that I'm not making it happen? In other words, if I have to love Hashem, so I have to make it happen.
Right. Okay.
It has to come from me.
Right. So Emes Hadavar. It's true. Shadas Ma'u Shleimus Amiti V'Tova Shel Emes. Know what's true shleimus and true good. Das kol mevin kabel she'ein l'adam lavina al burya. So everybody understands we can't know what true shleimus is and what true tova is. She'ev she'Hashem Yisborach le'Yishua said tovos muflos, because Kosh Baruch can always do greater tovos, wondrous ones. Yachshias nefesh kablon, and prepare our souls to accept them. Mashlo yitzir klal, beyond our capacity to even grasp. Okay, Elena, therefore we have to choose to do everything which we can't grasp, but we have to strike out for. Now it says but if we do it for the purpose of shleimus that we ourselves depict or understand, it's diminishing the true intent. Just like we were not able to perceive when we were in the womb, or even when we were nursing, and even more grown up, as the value of the goodness that Hashem, the main goodness is that Hashem destined for us in having children and everything else which we possess. Especially for the presence of Chachma v'Nachas Ruach and the satisfaction of doing good and kindness, the capacity to do it. We cannot just grasp it now, and here and now we certainly can't grasp it in the future. What's it going to get if we go in this pathways for our benefit? That we can't perceive it. And this makes sense that we can't perceive this ultimate good. But the question is in passing. The more you enhance and strengthen the idea of the great good, low. How can the direction of the worker be to good, which goes not to him? I assume it goes to the world. I assume eventually he gets some of it, but it's not directed at him specifically. Most people serve as want to get rewarded. But yet they say no. Hashem wants the mitzvahs and not the reward. Says it's very derogatory that every good that they do, they're doing for their own selves. Going to talk about this at length.
I think he's saying that since we can't perceive Hashem's derech, in other words, we don't know. I mean, the same way in the womb we didn't know, so we don't know now. I mean, what do we know more? Okay, we're more educated, but we're still not in touch, in Hashem's level. He has other plans, and so the same way we can't understand those plans. So how are we? So we must really follow some derech. We have to come up with something, right? And so he doesn't understand why Chazal is always talking bad about someone who does something for schar. I mean, you have to have some type of plan. So doing things for schar, that's a plan. I mean, okay, it's not the highest level, but we can't understand the highest level anyway. So why is Chazal telling us that that's not good? I think that's what he's saying.
Yes, I think you're right. But now he's rose in a bombshell. When you think about it a little bit, need yosher. there's a famous quote from Breuer's itself when they said they talked to him about a Hasidic Hashgacha which had tip top glatt kosher, but I don't know it's Hasidic Hashgacha, whatever it sounds like, but their books were not so kept appropriately. So he said, "Besser glatt yausher als glatt kosher." Glatt yosher is more important than glatt kosher. Okay?
Yes, that's
So
very true.
Seichel hu im hayosher, and that's why Yishorim is very high madrega. Taking Yishorim yalozu. It's a higher madrega to be a yosher than to be a tzaddik. But you say
Mesilas Yesharim, the paths of the straight.
Right. Seichel im hayosher ushleimus hanefesh. Moshe Chaim in kol tzorchei hachaim ushleimus haguf. It's like life with all of its needs is the Shem Saguf. So to near Shem Roy Klal Adam Ben Das, she Ovid Hashem is supposed to losi me Ava, Vlasos Nachasuach Liotzer Mali Ritzona HaKadosh. And that, I guess, is Yosha, the logical, straight thing to do. Alpishazo Etzem Etzona, yeah, path. Alpishazo Etzem Etzona, she Abo Adam L'Klal Hashem is Agodo, Vanichbad Ma'od, he wants us to accomplish Shlemus. That we achieve Shlemus as a byproduct. That's a separate. We do things to Ratzon Hashem, which is the ultimate Yosher, and then we get Shlemus as a thing on the side. But that's not the purpose. Is not towards Shlemus because you're never going to be able to do that. We'll see a person who Ba'alev Nachom has a great heart, Tzedek v'Chesed, loves justice and kindness. He's Damilosh Latzil Medina Shlema. He has capacity to save an entire country. There's one nation of thousands, tens of thousands of people. Mays are some closely for some general disaster. She can come to them. Going through also, she saw as far as a few short days hence. Yeah, because there'll be in the entire area of the nation. Rash Oretz Naravayom, a terrible earthquake. So nobody will be made alive. And he warned them. And he saved them. And he removed them with his effort and his capacity. In that country, to a place which is quiet and secure. When somebody heard this great goodness he did, he sent them 1,000 shekel kesef as a portion. Person rejoices at 1,000 shekel kesef. Greater than the simcha of his soul, inclusive for saving the entire population. Certainly is very degrading and small stature. And there'll be a lack of shleimus to the point it's a privilege they at least on them so to be in mourning on this person's a low state. When we try and find out the source of this lowness, the time and the reason why he's determined to this inclination, which is diminished. It's because of our reckoning. Perek the Pashas Bnei Adam as the value of human souls. Bikras Kol Nefesh, and the value of every living creature. Iskabes Latenu Atov HaKolel Vayakar VaMakif Kol Nefashos HaRabos. So no, this is how you avoid it, right?
Yeah, he's saying that. How is it that? Why do we feel like this guy is a very low guy?
Yeah.
So he says it's because of the value and the importance that we place on every soul.
Right.
So we saved all these people. He saved all these people from being destroyed. So there's tremendous value there. So that's what you're going to give. You're going to give that. That's what you're happy with. You're happy with 1,000 shekel.
Right. If he was sholim, this weak goodness, the Negra Tova Rabasha. So it's about the true goodness which he did. Lanu berivavos anshe ish. All this is because of the honor and value which
we place on the tens of thousands.
Yeah. ואתה נביא חשבון כאשר נסבונן בשלמות הבורא יסברך שבכבודו שאין לו קץ התכלס. So that should be a ton novo cheshbon. Let's reckon this. Kashen is born in Mishlemos Habor is Baruch Kvodish Ein Lo Case Tachlis. Look at the Kosh Baruch Hu's perfection and honor, which has no end. Abish Ein Lo Asog of Erechim Manatzei. We can't really depict it. Kokom nevertheless honor Yodim. Shakol Kol Yokov Erechim Ruma. All the honor and the glory and the lofty value. Sheyesh Na Mecholim Tzon Kulam, which are all creatures. Because they are created by Hashem, from the highest level, Atak Nishmal, to the lowest level. Kulam Atzil Mikvah, to all of them, he bestowed of his covet, V'Akruso, and his honor, Shlemus, his perfection, Asher Ein Aroch Elot, to which is no comparison. Yodana Barur, we know clearly, Shosoni's Baruch, Yosef Yokar, Yosef Nicha Be'ein Aroch. Hashem's Ratzon is greater and greater than anything else. Be'ein Aroch V'Am Shel Cloud, there's no likening it or drawing an analogy for it. From all of the loftiness of all creatures. So here it says the Yosher demands that you don't take into account your Yakar, your Shlemus, because it's nothing. It's insignificant. By days of Prati, and
so he fills his personal desires, personal will. If he knows what brought him to this shlemus, so in other words, even though he feels like I achieved this tremendous madrega, of course that is nothing compared with the value that HaKadosh Baruch Hu bestowed on the world, and that is nothing compared with HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, which is above all value.
Okay. The Gan Konli Vroim Kanodim Yisod Hashem Lireov. Oseh Bezel Rutzon Hashem Bora Yisbarach. He does the Rutzon Hashem. Shadover Zeh Yosef Chashim Nichbar. That's more significant and more honored. Mikol Nimtsoim Atzman than everything which exists. Ikok Vadim Yikarti Pertam. No matter how precious and honorable they are. Shakol Shalom, because everything is his. Miyodo Yisbarach L'Sei Lohem. He gave them Kol Chayla Zeh all his strength. Kivadai Achershi Yisbara Lo Zeh Bi Boror Kavi Amitas. Hadavar Iyemshar Klal. Shetizbol Navsho Mitzad Asech VaYosher Shum Kavna Bolam Ki Masiyas Nachas Ulchabonah. Okay, so if Kook says you have to get rid of any other kabbalah besides nachas for Hashem.
And not only does he say you have to get rid of it, but you can't even entertain it to begin with because I mean, come on, there's no comparison. You're not even in the same ballpark.
Well, obviously you have to begin somewhere. So I don't know if I agree with that. But, okay. Was then I mean go to Chachma Vashlem Shahishirunu Yishirunu Lo Chazal put us in the straight path. But some Azarosam in their warning, out to Gabanim Shamshis Rav Naskaba Pras, Abu Gabanim Shamshirav Shalom Naskaba Pras, the Iglomar Vadim Belobanim, the Shlafilu Milu and Tivis, to eliminate even the natural tendency Shakdusha Sanefesh of the holiness of soul at Smail Hashem of Varkocho. So, wow, he says that you be like Avadim when it comes to what's in Hashem. Don't look at yourselves as Banim. Right, because then you're going to succumb to to doing things not because of what's Hashem, but because he's like your father. Though we can't understand this in specifics, and the general understanding is will be illuminated. Are the general deeds and intents, which are for Ratzon Hashem. the source of wisdom which they were quarried. Shamu advarim biviruram varpnei melchaim. Then we'll see things in clarity. So we're obviously still in the middle of this issue, but he's saying that the idea of the avodim shalom naskavo pras means to do things just with an eye to Ratzon Hashem and to fulfill His expectations of us, and that is what is essential in order to be able to reach shleimus. Okay.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to read this over.
Right.
Very
Okay.
deep. Very, very deep. Very deep.
Yes. Shkoyach.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Have a good
Have a good night.
night. Goodbye.
Have a good night.